Okay. It says we're live. We don't have any viewers yet, so we'll just wait.
Oh, yep, I gotta.
You got the notification?
Oh.
Hello, can you guys hear us? Hello, hello. There's people on there. Hello, can you guys hear us? Testing. Oh, yep, they can hear us. Everybody say hi.
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 You want to start, Monica, or you want to wait until 6?
Yeah, we'll wait until right at 6.
Okay.
Noah, when did you go to Massachusetts?
I got here on Friday.
Okay,
So yeah, I'll be here for a month. So I'll be back the July 5th.
nice. And you have family there?
Yeah, my entire family lives up here.
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah.
How did you end up in Texas?
My dad got a job in Texas.
Okay.
So we moved down there and have stayed there.
Nice. Is your whole family up there or just you?
Just me, my parents and my sisters, but everybody else is up here.
Yeah.
So we come here every summer.
That's awesome. The weather's much more favorable.
Oh yeah, all of it. Supposed to rain tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's supposed to get over 100 here next week.
Nice. That's great.
You make us all jealous that you're on the East Coast.
Except they're still in complete lockdown. Places are
Yeah, I heard that. Everyone keeps telling me that about going home, that there's still nothing to do really.
yeah,
But they're not making you quarantine at all when you get there, right?
they're not enforcing it, but it's like nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
There aren't people out. But
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can go ahead and get started.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Ketty Van Dyke, and I am the middle school and high school counselor at FWAFA. And one of my big parts of my jobs is to help kids apply to school. So Monica asked me to come and help today. And our two FWAFA alumni that we have with us today, and Apgar and Noah Salem, and they're going to talk to us about applying to music school. So, boys, our first question for you is, how many schools did you apply to, and where did you?
All right, no, you want to take that first?
yeah, I'll go first. I applied to 4 schools: the Berklee Conservatory of Music, UTA, UT Austin, and UNT.
I applied to Texas State, UNT, and UT Arlington.
And then y'all went with Texas State. You have your shirt on there.
Yes, ma'am.
And UNT, right?
Yes.
Awesome. And what are y'all's, do you select your major already going into a music program, or how does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you audition as a specific, category. So I am specifically at Texas State, a music education major with an emphasis on choral activities. So I'm going to have a teaching certificate for elementary all the way up to high school in music.
And I am a music composition student, although for the first 2 years, I am technically a Bachelor of Music student. I won't actually be considered a composition student until after sophomore year. You complete a barrier, and that's when you can actually apply as a composition student. So I am a Bachelor of Music student with a focus on electronic composition.
That's awesome.
I suppose the specific name of my degree is music studies as well.
Okay.
Music studies with a teaching certificate.
Gotcha. Interesting. So what does the audition look like? I'm sure y'all had similar experiences.
Well, every school for me was different, and from what we have talked about, our auditions were different because he auditioned with piano and I was voice. So for like UT Arlington, before I even went to sing for the judges board, whatever, I had to take a music theory test, like a literacy test, and then they take you into a practice room. And you have X amount of time to warm up, and they'll give you a sight reading piece, and then you go to the panel or whatever. You sing your pieces, and depending on the program, you have to sing like one or two, and then you do your sight reading, and then they will ask you a couple questions. You know, what is your background? What inspired you to go into this art or this program? And I mean, that part was pretty similar across the board.
What about you, Noah?
Well, because I auditioned with music composition, a lot of my audition was my application. And so with the application, I would send in a bunch of my compositions, and that's really what got me into the school. And then I had to do a like an instrumental audition. So I auditioned on piano, but because I wasn't a performance major, it's more of an interview. And then they just want to know that you can actually play piano. So I had to go in, I played a couple pieces for UNT. I played 3. Then I had to go do sight reading. And then I had like a 30-minute interview about my musical background and my aspirations. So for me, it was more application and interviews and not auditions.
And with the applications, I don't know about you, Noah, I think you had to do pre-screens as well, right?
I had to do pre-screening for composition, but I did not have to do pre-screening for piano because I am not a performance major.
So for me, for UNT and Texas State, I had to send in a pre-screen video of me singing. For UNT, it was 2 different pieces, and they had to be different styles. And then Texas State only required 1, but it had to be a UIL category 1 piece. So the difficulty of the piece had to be at a certain standard. And then those were the pieces that I used to audition for those schools.
So was it the same? Did you use the same one for each school, or was it different pieces?
So for UNT, I used was it The Roadside Fire by Rayfon Williams, and then O del Mio Amato Ben by Stefano Adinaudi. But then for Texas State, I only used The Roadside Fire.
What made you pick those songs, Benjamin?
Well, I did them both for UIL, so I knew that they were up to that bar, and I had already, learned them, so I just had to pick them back up and refine them a little bit, and then they were ready to go for me.
Do you have any advice for people that are going to be applying in the future with screens? Like what helped you when you were doing your pre-screens?
Well, the first time I tried to do it was in December, and I spent the whole day with Noah and Garrett in Noah's room trying to get a good recording, and I couldn't. And so I missed that deadline. And then I tried to do it again before the next deadline, but then I got really sick in January. And so I emailed the director to Texas State, and I said, hey, this is what's been going on. I haven't been able to record a pre-screen that I feel like is good enough to send you. So that is why I'm waiting so long. I still do have interest in the program and, all that. And then the magic, third time's a charm. I did it at FWAFA with Miss Simmons, Mr. Wright, and Miss Romero. They all helped me kind of workshop the piece a little bit and then record a few different takes. And then Noah and I went through them and kind of chose out which ones really were the best. And that's the ones that I ended up sending in.
Were the auditions nerve-wracking at all in person?
Very.
Really? I mean, I never really felt that. I had, communicated to like the head of the programs for both UTA and Texas State. So I kind of had a familiar face going in. And so it kind of made it a little less nerve-wracking. But for UNT, it was weird because it was after quarantine had started. So it was actually on Zoom. And they didn't actually make me sing anything to them. It was an interview and they just used my pre-screen videos. And then they made me do a sight reading. They like put it up on the screen and I had to do that. But it was never, for me, it never felt like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Because I already kind of knew what was going to go on.
I think the nerves actually helped because for both my piano auditions, I felt really nervous going in, but then I would sit down and I don't know if it was because I was nervous or just because I knew I was an audition, but I was like 110% focused. And it was like the best time I had ever played those pieces. So I think like when you're nervous, you're worried about messing up. So you kind of just do your best.
Just like zone in.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I did find them nerve-wracking going in.
Will you guys talk a little bit about why you chose the school that you chose?
Mostly for me, it was the reputation and its pricing. So UNT has one of the best music composition programs in the world, pretty much. And so I knew going in that UNT was going to be my top choice because Berkeley is extremely expensive and I did not have the money for that. So UNT was really where I wanted to go. And so visiting the college, it was just, I knew that's where I wanted to go. And then especially when I was at the audition, they had a little showcase at the beginning. And sitting at the audition, I was like, this is perfect. And so after I got in, I was just really happy to apply or accept because it's really in the reputation. I didn't apply to schools that I didn't think had good music programs just to apply. So I really looked at what I was getting for the money I was giving.
Yeah, all the schools that I applied for, I had heard something about them and, how they were. So like Texas State, Miss Simmons went there. Mr. Hill's getting his master's there. UTA, Mr. J, Victor Johnson went there. So like I kind of knew about them and I knew that they had a good reputation. I decided against UNT because it is one of the best music programs around, but it's also so big that I worried going from the small FWAFA class size to such a big program would be a little overwhelming. And I wanted a more like personal like class, especially for the music classes. So that was part of the reason I settled on Texas State. The other thing is when you get on campus, there's kind of just a feeling, and you're like, okay, yes, this is a place where I can see myself, living for the next 4 years. And Texas State was really the first one that like really clicked with me. And so it was my top choice from, the beginning.
When you step foot on campus,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's
the biggest piece of advice to kids applying to colleges. You have to go visit and step on campus.
Absolutely.
Something magic when you find the right place. It just feels like you're supposed to be there.
So in what ways did your parents help and support you?
I would say it's mostly moral support. I was on the phone with my mom before and after the audition.
Aw.
So it was more of like I was nervous. And so she was there to say, oh, you'll do fine. You'll do great. And then afterwards, I personally felt this. I don't know if other people do, but I needed to talk to somebody about what had just happened. And so that's what my mom was. I just called her and I told her about the audition. And I think talking to people about it kind of also gets the nerves out. So after I had, gotten in the car and talked to people about it, I was feeling better about it than I had when I walked out of the room.
Yeah, I think that kind of moral support was definitely part of it. I made my dad drive me to my auditions because I wanted someone there with me. When I went down to Texas State, I had both my dad and his mom, and they just stayed in kind of the waiting area the whole time while I went, and did the audition and did everything. And when I got back, I knew that there were people who were going to be there, and that really is a comforting thing.
That's sweet. They're like your own personal therapists almost.
Yeah.
What advice would you give people coming behind you in the college application process, especially for music schools?
Do it early. And make sure talk to the professors, get to know the staff who you're planning on working with, and it makes it less nerve-wracking when you're in an audition, but it also helps if something comes up. Like when I couldn't get a good recording, I knew that I could go to Dr. Martin and say, hey, this is what's going on, I'm really sorry, and get a response back. And that really, it helps with the whole process because it feels like there's someone on the other side who you can kind of latch onto,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely meet with people beforehand. I had met with the composition chair and then the electronics chair before the audition. And so when I went in, I saw them walking in the hallway and I said hi. And it's not as scary when you have someone there that you know. But then also when you walk out, if you feel like you did really bad, you probably didn't. I know I walked out of my UNT audition and I was like, that was terrible. I did not do well at all. And then I got in. So if you think you did poorly, they're not looking for perfection.
They're looking for potential.
Yes. They want to know that you really want to go into this major and that you're not just doing it because you like it. So
is there some way that you guys would say that you set yourself apart in your auditions? Is it important to do something to make yourself stand out?
I don't think anything necessarily musically, but being on during your audition and saying when they answer the questions, make sure that you know what you're going to say kind of beforehand, because they're all going to ask similar questions. Why this school? Why this major? So thinking about those questions beforehand so you can go in there knowing what you're going to say. And it's also throwing a joke or two in there also definitely helps. It just kind of lightens the metaphorical load or whatever.
Make sure you're smiling.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Just be presentable and charismatic.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. We'll open it up for questions. I haven't got anything yet. Somebody's aunt said that they talked to them also. Alberta. Does anybody have any questions for these boys? Are you guys excited?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have orientation starting tomorrow. So
Oh, wow. That's so soon. When do y'all move onto campus?
August 18th?
August something.
The day before you guys start, I think.
Gotcha. Have they confirmed yet what classes will look like for you?
UNT is doing hybrid classes. So I believe classes larger than 200 people are splitting it in half. And half of the class is going to go in person one day and then do it online the next. And then the other half's going to go in person the next day. But I think small classes are going to be normal. We just got word a couple days ago that after Thanksgiving break, we're staying at home. All finals are going to be remote and online.
Okay.
So those are the biggest changes.
That's kind of nice, though.
Mm-hmm.
See, I haven't heard much about anything either way from Texas State. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be kind of a normal semester, but it also wouldn't affect me too much because I only have one gen ed class. Everything else is like 20 kids.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So they're smaller class
That's
sizes
awesome
anyways, right?
Yeah. That's one of the things that like really made me look forward to college is that my schedule, my first semester, I have one core class and just everything else is music, you know? So like, that's what I want to do. So there's more motivation to like get it done.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Somebody asked what the timeline is like from application to audition.
So, what is it? The early application deadline is November 1st, right?
Yeah.
Typically,
And I think that the music applications we had, I think for Texas State and UNT, it was like July 1st is when they opened up, right, Noah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I did you have to apply to the college first.
Yes.
So I applied to UNT in July, I think it was July 1st. So July 1st I applied, and then I found out in like August that I gotten in, and then I had until December for early admissions into the music school. And so December was when I turned in my application. I got a notification in January saying that I've been accepted to audition. And then I had my audition February 1st. And then I learned mid-February that I got accepted. So after you apply to the school and you get in, the music stuff is just all right there. It was like in a matter of 2 months, I had applied, auditioned, and gotten in.
Yeah. So I had a bit of, kind of a rougher time with that. And one thing is there's like multiple deadlines. So like, because there's different audition groups. So they'll be like 4 or 5 audition days over the course of the year. And depending on which deadline you meet, that's the audition day you'll have. So, I waited a little too long. And so UNT, it was because of quarantine, like they weren't doing live auditions at that point, but I would have had it online anyway because I was later and I was in one of the last groups and they didn't have an open time slot for live auditions. So I kind of, messed myself up there, but it's all about the timing. And make sure you look at the dates because I had some problems with that where I would talk to Noah and be like, okay, so it's like the 15th. And he'd be like, yes, 15th. And we'd look and then it was the 10th. And then, I've missed that deadline. So really be vigilant on that.
So that opens up for a good question. What was y'all's, since y'all applied to multiple schools, what was your method for keeping track of all that throughout the process? Obviously, Benjamin relied on Noah a little bit.
Yeah, have a good stepbrother. That's the key.
I kind of just did everything at the same time. So like the Berkeley application was different because I applied in August. It opened in August. And then my audition was actually in November. And so that was like my priority. So I didn't think about the UNT and UT music applications until after that audition. So I kind of I did that. And then I remember I did UT's application during Christmas break and then UNT's before. So I really just did it all at once and got it in. And that way you know when it's due and you don't have to be doing it the night before. No shade, but.
Or in a hotel room in California. Yeah. Yep.
Someone asked, so we talked about the program sizes, that Noah's going into a much larger program at UNT and Benjamin will experience a smaller, kind of more intimate program. But they asked, what is unique about your program that you're most excited for?
I'm actually really excited because I auditioned in the electronics field, which is actually new this year. And so this is the first time they have ever done it. And so when I auditioned, it was very like, I had to be very flexible because they did not know what they were doing in the audition. They were making it up as much as I was. And so I'm excited to be a part of something new.
Yeah. For UNT versus Texas State, the UNT music education program, the way that they do it, when you graduate, you'll have a certification to teach choir and band. So they just kind of lump them together a little bit more, but it'll be all grade levels. Texas State has more of an emphasis on choral music. So that was one of the draws because I'm never going to want to teach band, you know? So just what the program has to offer is something that swayed me towards Texas State.
Parker asked Noah, what's it like to be the coolest dude alive?
It's pretty nice. Yeah. Pretty nice. Yeah.
All right. Well, it doesn't look like any other questions are coming in. I really appreciate you guys doing this. I'm excited for y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ketty, can you think of anything else?
I don't think so. Thanks you guys for sharing your time with us and your wisdom.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, we'll sign off then. Best of luck to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you at graduation, I hope.
I hope.
Right. All right. Bye.
Bye.